first YouTube video that popped up when I searched up background noise. Now, I don't exactly remember why I was looking for background noise, but I do distinctly remember wondering why, or if I was more enthralled by the fact that I've gotten silence when looking for noise, or by the fact that this 20-hour video of supposed silence had accumulated 1.4 million views. But why? Why did I get silence when looking for noise? I mean, clearly two opposite ends of the spectrum. Noise here and silence here. Well, my curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to click on the video. I sat there, passed the ads, kind of twiddled my thumbs, waited for something to happen. I mean, because clearly 20 hours of silence can't actually be 20 hours of silence, right? It was. It literally was a black screen and 20 hours of silence. I watched as the red play bar ever so incrementally crossed my screen and my speakers supposedly blast silence. I was wasting my time maybe, but I felt really uncomfortable. The silence was, frankly, loud. Wait, the silence was loud. Maybe after all, they aren't two opposite ends of the spectrum. Because in the end, they are just the absence of each other, right? Well, parallel to this experience, I figured and found that our lives are full of opposites that seem apart from each other, like noise and silence, tension, resolution, individuality, and community. But what if these pairs aren't as distant as they appear? What if they coexist, enhancing the other? Ladies and gentlemen, today I take a journey with you through how music teaches us this mutual, almost symbiotic coexistence between seemingly binary opposites, and how they teach us and show us this different view of community and individuality. Now, on the topic of music, I want to ask you a question. What makes a good song? Or wait, let me rephrase that. What makes a song sound good? I'll give you a minute to think about that one. Myself, as a guitarist, I'm obliged to say the guitar, because, I mean, who can say no to a good guitar solo, right? Maybe the drums, they're kind of important. But in all seriousness, in the end, it all boils down to this idea of harmony, or the intentional absence of it, called dissonance. How each different parts of the melodies and songs and instruments work in unison with each other. We can take music as a great metaphorical teacher of where we can apply to ourselves to think about community lives. Chords and melodies work together beautifully, and from this metaphorical collaboration, we can assume and simply derive that harmony comes from the expression of similarities with each other. But if we take a deeper look into harmony, things really start to change. You see, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, the definition of harmony is the pleasing conversation of different parts. For harmony to offer the resolution we seek, each individual note must be different. It can't be the same, because if it were to be the same, it would be an amplification of one single sound, which we basically associate with loudness. So, in order for harmony to work, for it to deliver this gift and beauty that we deserve, each individual note has to be stable in its own waveform, ready to pronounce individuality. So we conclude, harmony is a respectful expression of difference, not commonality. So, now we know that community life is all about individuality. Then how do we take this metaphorical understanding and apply it to our own lives? Well, it means that we must find our individuality and sense of community through our individuality. Because it's the individuals that create the community, right? Because don't get me wrong, we are a social species. We are dependent on each other, and we bond through the common and the familiar. And that's a good thing. But in the process of focusing on collective unity and external relationships, we often forget where we are as individuals fit into this grand scheme of a puzzle. We are so caught up with the bigger pictures of life, our profession, our communities, our families, this world that we live in, that we often forget the micro, the blemishes, the small details that tell us who we really are. It's these micros that we must focus in, because true harmony only emerges when we embrace our individuality, for only then are we truly equipped to contribute meaningfully to the greater life, unified in purpose. So, now that we know that we need to focus on our own song, our own melody, before contributing to this greater symphony of life, how do we get there? How do we find our own song, our own melody, our own story, our own narrative? Well, the big answer, I don't know. I know it's not the answer you were looking for, but this is the answer I have. And as cliche as it may sound, there is no one-step guide that fits all of our story arcs into one. This is where I take a step back, your family takes a step back, where every external thing takes a step back and leaves it up to you. This is where you take a step forward and find yourself. You see, I'm on this journey like anybody else as well. As a high school senior looking into going to college, I currently stand at the precipice of change, where I'm prepared to leave the life that I've been comfortable and familiar for so long. I'm stuck in between serene reminiscing of what my life has been and anxious anticipation of where the next steps of my life will take me, away from the comfort of people and places I call home. And to be fair, it is quite terrifying, this uncertainty. And I'm sure you are, have been, or will struggle with the same uncertainty. But if there's one thing that I can offer, a humble perspective to somehow ease this angst of instability, is that in music, melodies rely on this instability as a motivator to find grander perspectives and resolutions. The beauty that music creates is a result of its turbulence. And I found that our lives are very much the same. We need to seek hardship, seek instability and uncertainty to find who we are as true human beings, to find our resolution. This ironic relationship still amazes me to this day. Peace and instability aren't opposites, they're partnerships. They work together and they coexist. They're not binary opposites. If there is one thing you take away from today, I hope that it is you find your sense of community through your individuality. I hope that you navigate your instabilities, and I hope that you understand that community is a result of you and your own difference from one another. Music teaches us that life isn't about avoiding dissonance, but rather understanding its beauty and its phase within our lives. And it teaches us that we must find a way to feel stable within this instability. Each phase in our lives has its own meaning, and it's this collection of these phases and instability that creates our own very narrative. And only when we find this narrative, and only then, can we truly start to think of the dream that we all think of. The dream of existing together. Thank you.